Hi, my name is Natalie Gauci, and I am a mother, a performer, musician, teacher, singer songwriter, and what else? A platinum and gold selling artist, and the winner of Australian Idol in 2007. And I am now based in the Gold Coast, and I have a nearly 2-year-old boy, and I'm going to be doing podcasts every week. And I'm going to start off by just doing a Zoom and having a casual chat about a topic. And this week's topic is about how spirituality connects to our voice in our performance and in our work. And I know that everybody out there has a different connection to spirituality, different faith, different belief. And some people might not have any. And so I'm just going to bring light to that and ask you the question: how do you practice in your spirituality, and what works for you? Do you share it with other people, or do you keep it private? I've gone through many different phases of spirituality in my life, and I've actually come down or up to the conclusion of now, because every conclusion is a conclusion, into a resolution and then into some kind of enlightenment. Well, that's for me anyway. It's like this cycle. I come to a conclusion, and then 3 or 4 days later I have another revelation, and then another conclusion. So it never really ends, is what I'm saying. It's like a flower, that opens up the petals and just grows and grows and grows until that flower dies, and then another one grows. So we're always planting seeds and building foundations, and then the next foundation is bigger. Like today for me, it's about nature. I'm a nature girl, and I always have been. And sometimes I just got lost along the way and forgot that. And to me, I have one God. I believe in Jesus and the Holy Spirit, and I pray to the one God. I have been brought up Catholic, and then things happened to me in the Catholic Church that put me right off Catholicism, but I was baptized as a child. And so then I turned to Buddhism, started chanting, and that actually opened up my voice, because I had such a closed throat at that time, after I won Australian Idol and went on that massive high for a while, and then completely wanted to detach myself from that fame. When I look back on Australian Idol, I actually had the strongest spirituality I have had till now. Now I'm back there with wisdom and the years of experience, knowing what I'm doing and not just subconsciously doing it. So back then I would pray and I would talk to God and I'd have conversations with God, but I wasn't really understanding the depth of it. Even though I was living it, and I know that I had the Holy Spirit in me, I wasn't like saying it how I would say it now. I would just be like, I can feel the fire in my soul, and I can feel, the passion. And that's exactly what it is. So, when it comes to, religion and things like that, it's all just based on what we've been taught in our families and how we've been brought up. And that's going to be in our blood, basically. So for me, no matter where I turned and where I went, I know that Jesus was always with me. Just like if I was with Buddha, Jesus was with me. If I was going down to Krishna, Jesus was with me. And I would just need to go back into my heart and ask the questions inside of me to actually get those answers. And it wasn't till recently that a good friend of mine actually said to me, he said, Natalie, walk in the door of your house or wherever you're walking with authority. knowing that Jesus is with you and he's holding your hand. And that changed my life, because I was feeling like I was alone and I had this emptiness, and that I was letting stuff in that was not meant to be there. And it came from a lot of the healing that I was doing and the psychic mediumship and things like that. So yeah, it was a big shift for me. And so you've probably been seeing my new Instagram posts and social media posts, and I'm no longer doing the spiritual healing or psychic mediumship. And that's only because it's just not in my purpose now is to do music and to do singing, and I know that that's the gift that God gave me, and everything else that is my voice that is expressed right now, that I'm expressing with you, to you, in my podcasts, in my social media posts, in my single releases, in my writings, in my blog posts. My website's going to be done soon, and I'm also going to be running masterclasses for singing. So I thought, let's just create a podcast and come on and have a chat and interview people, bring people on, and let's talk about music, talk about performance, talk about all the topics that I'm going to be giving you in my masterclasses, which are webinars, and there's going to be recorded ones which you can have monthly subscriptions to, or you can actually join me live for a masterclass for the production and self-management masterclasses, which will be like a graduate over a year course, but I'm still working on that. So I thought, let's start with this and bring people on. So if you're watching this right now and you can totally relate to this, you're a performer, or you want to be a performer, you're a singer, you want to start singing, whether it's beginner, intermediate, advanced, you're writing music, you've got music out there. Spirituality is a big thing in music, because it's a spiritual thing. You know, it's in our heart and it's in our soul. So when we sing, we can sing like we could practice scales. But if we don't have that passion, and if we don't have that surrender, right? Because it's about surrendering, but it's also about having the authority, right? To have the confidence to do it. Like when I got up on stage and stood on a piano on Australian Idol, I had authority. I gave myself authority to do that. And that's what I mean. I wasn't conscious of the spiritual stuff that was going on around me, but I felt it. And that's the start of it. Then as you get older, like I'm going to be 40 this year, I'm now and I have a son. So my heart has changed. My whole life has changed. And me as a person, I feel like I'm going back to when I was in my 20s and I wanted that success and I had that hunger, but it's almost like I am now so, I don't know what the word is. I guess it's stable in the foundations that I'm building again. It's like I know that things never end. Whereas back then, it was like, if I don't do this now, I'm never going to do it. And if I don't get this done now, my whole life is over, you know, because that's what happens when you're in 20s. You think that your whole life isn't going to end when you're 25. So it's not till you get to over 35 that you're like, well, actually, I know that things will just keep on going. And it's like this eternal feeling where time becomes big and expanded, as opposed to I'm running out of time and I have to rush to get this and acting impulsively. And that all has an effect on our singing, because that's when we force the voice to come out, as opposed to just releasing it and letting the voice come out through our heart center, through that space. And then if you add God into it, it just adds a whole another element to this whole thing. So, you know, people use the word portal, or, you know, that's a word I used to use. But actually it's not really a portal. It exists everywhere. Portals are like holes that you enter into But this is not. This is like a vast space of just heaven on earth. To me, that's what God feels like. And when we're connected to that, our voice will always work, no matter what, you know? And if it doesn't, it probably just means that we're not connected to God. We're not tuned in. So it just means that we need to tune into that, into Him, in whatever faith that we have, whether we are Muslim or whatever we're brought up with. So I would really like to have this conversation with a few people who are in the music industry or who want to be, or who are singers and who are spiritual. And I'd love to know what it is that they do in their practice that works for them with their voice. And it might not work for me, or maybe it did in the past but doesn't anymore, but that's okay. I feel like we are all on our journey, and everything leads us to the path where we're meant to be eventually. So I never regret anything I ever did. I never regret my healing. I never regret my psychic mediumship, but I am cleansing that now, and I am purifying that, because there was a lot of demonic stuff that was coming in that I didn't notice or realize what was happening. So I'm on a different journey to you, and I would love to know yours, and I'd love to know where you're at. So if you're watching this right now and you're in the music industry, even if you're not a singer, even if you're a musician, you know, I'm really interested to know what it is you do secretly that is your thing that you connect with. And you don't have to be like full on, you know, descriptive about it. If I understand, because I'm private with my prayer practice and my meditation with God, and I appreciate and respect if you are as well, and anything that you have to say, really. So yeah, if you have any questions, please write it in the comments. And if you'd like to be on my podcast, it's every Thursday is coming out, so we'd need to speak before the Thursday if you'd like to come on. So that probably makes absolutely no sense to you, because time just doesn't matter when you're listening to a podcast, really. All you need to know is it comes on every Thursday on YouTube, and I will start putting them out professionally on Spotify and stuff a bit later on. But I've got a lot to do. I've got music coming out. I've got my song Pictures of Mars, which is finally coming out on the 1st of October. So remember to save the date on the 17th of September. You can come online and save the song so that it comes straight into your playlist on the 1st of October, and you can text me and tell me if you like the song or not. And the music video, which I'm really excited about. So without my spiritual connection with God, none of the stuff that I'm doing right now would be happening. The fact that I'm even feeling inspired again to even do podcasts, like I haven't had this inspiration for over 2 years. You know, it's taken me a while to really get my head straight and my heart straight. So I really appreciate your patience with all of this and my ins and outs and ups and downs, and you know, but that's what life's all about. So I want to know yours. I want to know where you are at, and would love to connect. So thank you so much for watching my first podcast, which was, I don't know if it was too long or too short, I have no idea. But I don't have anyone to be interviewed right now, and I don't want to just go blah 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 and talk for no reason. So that is basically my story in a nutshell, without going into really deep, dark pathways, and keeping it light and keeping it fresh and keeping it real and godly. I am sharing that with you just to open my heart and say, this is where I'm at, and this is where my voice is at, and this is how I'm connecting with my voice right now on a spiritual level. And there are a lot of different levels with our voices and where we go with it. So this is the topic for this week, and I'm sure we will bring it up again once I hear from you and bring you on my show. Alright, so if you want to follow me on Instagram or Twitter or LinkedIn or TikTok, or what else is there? Facebook. It's Natalie R. Gauci, Gauci, Natalie R. Gauci. just put that in your search, and I shall see you there. Bye for now.